Welcome into the lesson on how to import AutoCAD drawings of a house into Sketchup and to create a 3D model. In the previous class, the AutoCAD file was stripped down of all its dimensions, its text, and just on one layer 0. And in some cases, depending on what SketchUp you use, you may have to save it as a 2007 version. In this case, the drawing is ready, so I'm going to go into the File, and I'm going to go into Import, and I am selecting the House 1, SketchUp House 1. Now before I double click this, I want you to pay particular attention over here to Options. You should select Option button and make sure that all three of these checkboxes are selected: Merge Coplanar, Orient Faces, and Preserve Drawing Origin, and of course Inches because we're working in an Imperial drawing. And go OK, and Open, and Close. Now it looks like nothing happened to the screen, but if you go to your Zoom Extents and you go to Top View, then you can clearly see that the drawing did come in. But we're just going to move it over the origins. So with the Select tool, select the entire arrangement of drawings and move it down closer to the X and or to the red and the Y, red and green axes. And Zoom Extents, and just move it back down. Now, when the drawing comes in, you need to check to see if it came in at the proper scale. So in order to do that, you need to use the tape measure. Okay, double click to deactivate the drawing. So I'm going to use the tape measure and measure something on the drawing. Now you may know the dimensions of the drawing to be 44 feet, but in this case I know that the front door is 3 feet. So when I select the edge of the door to the other edge, I can see in the value control box on the bottom left corner here, it is 3 foot 1.5. Now if that measured 6 feet or even 18 feet, all I do is type in 3 foot 1.5 and the model will be resized. So this model, it did come in at the proper scale. Now I've got a couple of things that are appearing here that I don't need, as well as this Joe here in the corner. I'm going to delete him. And then I need to select this drawing, and I need each individual plate to help me build this model. So I'm going to select it and right click and explode the drawing into individual units. Okay, and then each unit, and if I just click once, I'm going to select this and we're going to make this a group. Okay, and then I'm going to select the front elevation and make that a group, and the right side elevation and make this a group. Now I would like to put these templates on individual layers, so I'm going to go over to the Layers toolbox over here. If this does not appear, go over to your Windows and go select Layers, and that will activate the screen. So I want to put a new layer in, and I want to call that Floor Plan Layer. Actually, I'll call it CAD Floor Plan. And then I will add another layer, and I'll call that CAD Elevation. CAD stands for Computer Aided Design and Drafting. Okay, so when I select the floor plan, I'm going to right click and go Entity Info, and I'm going to have a dialog box come up, and I'm going to select the floor plan. So now it's placed on the floor plan. Then I'm going to select the front elevation, right click, Entity Info, and send that to the elevation layer. And the last one is also sitting on an elevation layer. So I'm going to select it, right click, and go Entity Info, and place that on the elevation layer. So each one of these plates can be locked if you need to. You just select it, right click, and it turns red. So select this, right click, and lock it. And the same with the floor plan. Locking it will prevent it from being deleted, and certainly you can unlock it the same way. We're going to focus on the floor plan for the first part of this drawing. So zoom in, and before you get started, you want to make sure that your camera view up here is still on parallel projection at 90 degrees, because when we pull these walls, they have to be straight at 90 degrees. If they're on perspective, they may twist and end up having a difficult time of getting windows in. Okay, the first step is to take the rectangle command And I'm going to snap from the outside edge to the outside edge. The plan will color in. I'm going to snap from the inside corner to the inside corner. I've just completed all the exterior walls. Now the next process is to outline every room, and I'm going to do that with the rectangle command. It goes fairly quickly with the rectangle command, and I certainly can go from geez, that snap point is really being a nuisance. Go from corner to corner with the pencil command, but that will take a long time. So using the rectangle command, it goes fairly quickly. You'll notice that I'm just ignoring the doors because I can punch through those doors and create rectangles on the inside. That object snap is really being fussy. And then go from room to room. And once I've completed all these boxes, I will be able to go in with the eraser and erase unnecessary lines so that the entire interior and exterior walls will pull up in one plate in one motion. And just working on this back vestibule here. The linen closet over the stairs, the stairwell, and the back entrance, this mechanical chute, and the closet, and again, the doorways do not have to be addressed at this time. I'm going to use the hallway and in that. And we're just about done. We're going to do the main living area. And I try to do that where I can, large squares. So this one. And use your pan to get you up to the top piece. Escape button brings you back up. And as you can see, it's almost finished. These little snap points are, you got to go in almost very close so you can get to the right snap point. And use your pan to go in there. And as I get closer to the pantry, there's some unusual angles, and at that point I will, use the pencil tool. And we're just about done here. So this little area here, I will switch to the pencil, and I will outline, I see I did not, I'm going to just do an undo. The undo command is right over here on this rectangle here. So I'm just going to undo that last little square. I didn't quite get the corner, so I'm just going to go in here a little bit closer and make that work. And then now I'm in the pencil tool, and I'm just going to trace from here to complete this little triangle here. And I'm going to just go with the very last triangle here and close it up. Now at this point, we're going to go around and use the eraser. So the eraser is going to erase these unnecessary lines because the plate has to come up as one uniform motion. And the walls that touch the outside walls also have to be erased so that they come up at the same time. And you can see I've got some line work here. Oops, just do an undo there. Okay, and move along. I'm going to erase this point, this wall here. And I'm just using the pan. I'm staying pretty consistent with my zoom and just going around the perimeter as quickly as I can. And you can see I've got 3 walls here on the bottom edge that I have to click out so that when I do pull up the walls, these walls will come up at the same time. Just going to take one last zoom in and make sure I've taken care of. I see a few lines are still yet to be removed here. This line, and this line. Okay, I think we've taken care of everything. And now I'll go to the isometric view, and I will select the push-pull tool, and I'm going to grab a corner here, and I'm going to project all the walls up. Now I can project them at any height. I want the walls to be 8 feet 1 inch. Okay, and then I enter. The 8 foot 1 inch will appear in the value control box here on the bottom. Okay, I want to select the entire wall system by triple clicking, right click, and make it a group. The reason why I make it a group is because if I put the roof over top, it will stick to the walls, and at some point I want that roof removed. So now let's go to the top view and zoom extends, and I need this particular elevation. I had locked it, so I'm going to right click and unlock it, and then I'm going to move it down close to the elevation, this point. Okay. I'm going to rotate this plate, and then I'm going to put it up against the house to use as my guide. So use the rotate command. So to rotate, I'm going to select this base, click, click, and then I'm going to rotate it in this direction. And then I need to go to the front view, and I'm going to rotate it up. So I'm going to click from here to here, and you can see that it's rotating up. And to deselect anything, you need to take your select tool and double click. Now I want to go into isometric, and you can see that I did rotate that up. I want to go to the right side view, and I'm just going to maneuver that to a point where I get to see how it appears in the house. So at this point, I'm lining this up at this point. Just a little bit of maneuvering. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to the isometric, and I'm just going to move that plate away because I want to extrude the roof. So I'm going to move it over to the side, just away from the building itself, so I have a little bit clearer view. I'm going to go to the right side view, and I'm going to zoom in and trace that roof line, and then I'm going to extrude it. So I'm going to use my pencil tool. So the pencil tool from the top roof to the end, to the fascia, to the soffit, back up, middle, back down here, again to the soffit and the fascia, and then when I touch this little top ridge, it'll close in and color. Now I've created a plate that I'm going to extrude. I'm going to go back to isometric, and as you can see that this plate did color in on the, and I'm going to use the push-pull tool, and I'm going to grab that and move it out. Now the house is 44 feet long, so I'm going to type in the bottom for the value control box 44 feet. As you can see, it extends out. I do have 2 foot overhangs, but what I'm going to do before I do that, I'm going to triple click this to select everything, right click, and make it a group. Making it a group will allow me to move it over top of the walls without it sticking like glue. So then I'm going to go to the right side view, and I'm going to move this roof over on this piece here, just in line, and I may have to go to the front view just to see how that line, see how you're maneuvering your wall system. Okay, so once I have that lined up, then I'm going to go to isometric and move it up a bit. Okay, and at this point I'm going to use my select tool, triple click so it's lined up, one click, and I'm going to edit the group. So it allows me to use this block, and I'm going to extend out on my overhangs by a push-pull, and I'm going to grab this face and pull it out 2 feet. And you can see in the bottom value control box 2 feet. I'm going to go to the orbit toolbar, and I'm going to orbit, whoops, So see what happens? I'm still in that edit mode. Orbit, and I'm going to rotate it back to this side of the building. And I'm also going to use push-pull again and grab that plate and move it out 2 feet. Okay. Once I'm done that, I'm going to double-click outside. And as you can see, the roof has got its 2-foot overhang. And there's still more to do on this model, but at this point I'm going to stop and check in with the students. So we'll get back to you.